Welcome to NerdLove. This is our first episode. This is sort of an experiment for us, so please bear with us. We're making our first top 10 favorite video games. My name is Bryan Ribeiro.
And I'm Kenya Ben. And, well, we love games. And kind of love each other, so.
We decided to make this show, and that's why it's called NerdLove. So you want to hit it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. This is our first list, so we're kind of figuring out the rules. But this is our cat, Penny.
Yeah, don't mind her if she comes into the shot. She wants to show her love, too.
Yeah. It's one favorite video game per franchise, consoles and PC, no mobile, no arcades. We might do other stuff like anime, board games, anything generally nerdy, dorky. So this is our first one. Do you want me to go first just to set the tempo? Or do you want to go first?
You know, I kind of have an idea of what yours is, so.
Okay. How did you make your top 10 list? What was the method you used? Was nostalgia a part of it too, or?
Unfortunately, nostalgia is like probably the biggest part of me making my list.
That makes sense.
But you gotta love the old stuff too, and you gotta appreciate it for what it was. But I tried to go through every single game that I've played. I know I've missed a lot. I missed a whole lot. But I tried to go through every single game that I've played and then put together a top 10 that way.
Okay, cool. So do you want to start off with your number 10 first? Then I'll go to number 10, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6. Or do you want me to go first?
Let's hear yours first.
Okay, mine was very easy, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit back and forth. It was about to be my number 11, but my top 10, my number 10 is Super Mario World.
Really?
Yeah, see. That was my first game ever. So Super Mario World, it was on Super Nintendo, and when I first played it back in Brazil, that's what got me on it. I think it was the first. It was one of the few games
that
I've
was
actually.
One of the more popular ones.
It was definitely. It was the first and only game that I ever slept while playing. Like I was in and out of consciousness playing it, and that's when that's like a good metaphor of me just falling in love with games at that point. It became part of my dream at that point to one day make a game, and it's still a little bit a part of it as well, but that's what really set me off. Yeah, I loved it. Music was great. It was just a whole new world for me.
That's a pretty good game. My number 10. I'm going to have to go with a little bit of an odd one. Star Wars: The Old Republic.
The Old Republic?
Yes.
Which is an MMORPG,
Which is an MMO. And I probably get so many boos. But I made way too many characters in that game. And I'm just a big fan of RPGs in general. I was very, very, very happy what BioWare did in this game. Bringing the elements of choice and also a community environment into the world of Star Wars. And, it's already such a, expansive world where you have the Jedis versus Sith.
Sorry, cat's screwing around.
Oh my God. But creating your own character, it makes it so much more personal. And going through your own story to become the next big Sith Lord, you can become, think about it, you can become Darth Vader. It's awesome.
Wow. That is pretty cool.
So that's why it's my number 10.
Also, that's a good choice. Okay. Our number 9. Number 9 is... Number 9 is a hidden gem on PS3 called Valkyria Chronicles. Not a lot of people have played this game or know what it's about, but it's a small game from Sega. It's a strategy game with an anime aesthetic. It's done a little bit in real time. So the story is you are a soldier that's going into this war, and you kind of meet this ragtag group, and you go through their stories and stuff like that. It's kind of like a simulation friendship game at the same time, where you build relationships and then you get stronger for it. And all outside of story and character arcs, the gameplay was just also very good. And it dealt with the I guess unappealingness of war as well. Not just on an anime level, but people actually do die, and you feel for them and stuff like that. And it's a gem in the best sense of it in the video game terms, because not a lot of people know about it. It's buried underneath a lot of good games from the PS3 days, especially.
I'm surprised that's lower on your list.
Yeah.
I know you've mentioned it to me a couple of times.
It was going to be number 10 or number 9, but that's because it hasn't come out with a lot of games and it hasn't gotten the recognition. So my recognition for it is, I guess, a little bit dwindled too. But it's a great game. You should definitely go get it.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, my number 9, I think this one is, or was, more popular. PS2 game, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Wow.
Now, this is a game, this is what your mom's warned you about, but you know, I think when my mom allowed us, me and my brother, to get this when we were younger.
Did she know what it was
I don't
about?
think she knew.
Oh, she didn't know.
Yeah, but it was so much fun. I think this is one of those games, because it's open world, it kind of set up.
You didn't play Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City?
I did.
Oh, okay, but you like San Andreas more.
Yes, but San Andreas is my top Grand Theft Auto game.
Okay.
And, yes, it lacks story. Well, actually.
No, I mean...
No, the story, believe it or not, is not that bad. It's an up-and-coming, a black man coming from the ghetto to, the high life.
But aren't all Grand Theft Auto games rags to riches stories?
Yes. Yeah. But I felt this one was a lot more personal, because he lost his, he lost a lot of his friends and everything. Okay, Grand Theft Auto is not about story. It's mostly gameplay. But that, I think, definitely is what ingrained Grand Theft Auto in me. I think that one was my second Grand Theft Auto, but it trumped Vice City. And that it was open world. I got to experiment with so many different things, and I liked the characters. So that one's my number 9.
This one was I already knew it was already there, but this was what kind of started the idea of this whole list for me. It was my number 8, and it was, well, generally some other games started it, but this was the first game to really start this whole social endeavor. And it's Towerfall Ascension. Yeah, I love that game. It's a game on the PS4. It's a little game. It's kind of like Smash Brothers, but with archers. It's a platforming fighting game.
And it's so much easier.
Oh my god,
it's so much easier to learn than Smash.
And I used it twice, and so I tend to have a birthday party every once in a while, every year or so. Now more recently, and that's the game I always go to bring everyone together, people who don't know each other. So it's a social game. It's a party game to me at its purest, but it's so much more. And the characters are great. The design is great. It's so much fun. It's so adorable. It would be weird not to have put it on my top 10. Not because of the gameplay, but because of the consequences of it. It brings people together, and that's just a beautiful thing. It absolutely deserves to be played on any. If you have a Steam or if you have PS4, you should get this game. $15, best to be played with up to 4 people. Controllers are gonna be expensive, but it's damn well worth it. You cannot count the amount of good times I've had with that game.
I wish I had that on my list, but it didn't make it.
Yeah.
My number 8.
What's wrong with you?
Fire Emblem Awakening.
Oh yeah, I played this. Actually, it was what started our relationship.
Yes.
I borrowed this from her, and it's like, ooh.
It's like, you're gonna love this one.
Let me build up a relationship with you.
So great. My game choices.
Yeah. That's what. When I played that game, I was like, oh, she has some good taste in games, and therefore she must be good girlfriend person.
Yes. Well, this one. Fire Emblem Awakening is my first Fire Emblem, or was my first Fire Emblem. I do plan on getting the next one. But this one, I felt, as people have said, redesigned the whole franchise itself. And, I don't know, character relationships there's a big stress on character relationships in this game.
Yeah.
And
Because you make babies.
Yes, you do make babies. And
are we gonna make babies?
Why are you asking this here? Announce that. But building babies that can then have the best stats in the game.
You didn't.
Worth it.
You didn't care about the babies. You cared about
the
stats. You soulless, heartless monster.
So horrible. Like, I don't care if you
That's
like that person. But also the gameplay. Yes, it's turn-based, but oh gosh, it was fun. It was fun, and having the freedom to go around. That is why it's my number 8.
So you had a PC game, you had
PS2,
and now 3DS.
Yes,
Okay,
3DS.
That's really good. I like. So our number 7 is right now.
Your number 7.
My number 7, and it's Uncharted 3. This is my first shooter that I really fell in love with. I played Uncharted 2, and I liked the story a lot, but Uncharted 3 was multiplayer-wise some of the best fun I've had. It's kind of like Towerfall, but global and stuff like that. That's a good way to put it, I guess. We, me and even my cousin kind of, got close with that game, too.
Would you say you fell in love with the multiplayer aspect more?
Yeah, I would say. Even though Uncharted 3 that's a good question, had a fun campaign. It's multiplayer. And it's just fun to have like an online multiplayer game on my list too. I just like the idea of that. But also, it's a fun game. You've played it, right?
Yeah.
Even though you have no idea what you're doing, you can see that it's like total fun, bananas everywhere. Just everything's crazy all over the place.
I like that I can climb and shoot you. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's Naughty Dog's old kind of classic games with its verticality and jumpingness put into a shooting game, and it's fun. There's a oh my god, it's just charming as hell, is what it is. Yeah, that's my number 7.
My number 7 is also a Naughty Dog game.
Oh, Last of Us.
Jak and Daxter.
Oh, damn. There you go.
Oh my gosh. Yes, this one is mostly nostalgia.
Jak and Daxter.
Jak and Daxter, the original. That's right. This one's mostly nostalgia. I mean, I did play all of them up until Jak 3.
You didn't play Final Frontier or whatever?
No, I didn't play the
PSP?
The PSP ones, unfortunately.
And there's a racing one, too.
Yeah. It wasn't
yeah, it doesn't have the
what
same.
I wanted in a Jak and Daxter game. You know, originally grew up loving the puzzles. I mean, you have the driving game that was introduced in Jak 2, but Jak and Daxter, it was mostly the puzzles and the comedy. I felt like, and the character interactions.
Yeah, it was really
and
cool. It's like a cartoon.
Oh yes.
A Saturday morning cartoon.
It's exactly
put
what
into
it's like. A Saturday morning cartoon that I could interact with.
Yeah.
And even if you were to jump off a cliff, they would do something. They would announce something silly, like, "Oh my gosh, Jak, why'd you fall into that lava and then burn your whatever?" I'm so bad. But of course, Jak was silent at the time, but it's such a fun game. The platforming is spot on, very good, and I played it so many times just to complete every single option.
It was my first PS2 game. I actually got afraid of playing it because at one point you started going towards like the evil island, something, whatever, like where the enemies reside or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like terrified because they had a day and night cycle, and whenever it got night, I was like, I'm not touching that.
I'm not sure what
going
would come
anywhere
out.
near that. Yeah, night cycles always scare me. Anyway, is that it?
Yeah, and that's my number.
Our number 6. My number 6 is this one I actually forgot about and then remembered. Walking Dead Season 1. Yeah, I knew you. Yeah, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's such a great game. I would love to have
story.
I have so many graphic tees of games and things I like, and I want one kind of for this because you play the role of a guy who's trying to basically take care of a daughter figure through the apocalypse, and that's always beautiful, especially since, like you said before, with your character making in the Star Wars game, you make your choices here. It's not puzzle heavy like most point and click adventure games, you can put those in quotes, but it's very paramount to your morality and what you opt as the right thing to do.
Yes, and it was a great feature that they added everybody's scores in there.
Yes.
For what they
oh
did.
yeah, that was smart. Yeah, they basically high
Very
scores, but
interesting.
who did what? Did you kill her or did you not kill her at the end of
Mhm.
every episode? There are 5 episodes each, I think, is now very cheap. Like $5 an episode, so 25 in total. I'm not sure. Anyway, beautiful game. It starred a character who was also not white, and it was a diverse cast, and with diverse choices, diversity is always a great thing, and it's a beautiful game. It's the only game that I'll tell you one quick story. There was one part in the second episode. I think I told you already. So you had to choose between killing a man and killing a girl, and your character is a guy, so he may have had he had a love interest in the girl. I chose the girl, and the girl, in a few hours after you ended up choosing her, turns out the guy had died. The guy you didn't pick died, and the girl you picked was saved. And the girl later on said, "I feel so bad for that guy. He suffered and stuff like that." The moment she said that, I actually started tearing up. I actually cried a little bit. A tear actually went down my face, and I don't know why.
It really makes you regret your actions. I mean, yeah, even if you feel like you might not have regretted them in real life.
Yeah, it was just that real small little moment there. Because that was only like the first 2 episodes. There are much like more emotional moments as you build with the characters towards the end. Like I cried a few times, but that was the first one that kind of didn't make sense, but it did really, because the way the emotions built up, even in that small amount of time, and just the way it was said by that voice actress too. Just the voice, oh man, it was amazing. My number 6, Walking Dead season 1.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments is, spoiler if anybody hasn't played, but like choosing to leave behind
Lee?
No, not Lee. The other girl. The
one who shot.
Yes.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yes.
She was a monster.
That was one of my toughest decisions.
I didn't care.
I know a lot of people are like,
her,
a lot of people are like, forget her.
Yeah.
Like just throw her to her, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I either have this really useless guy or this girl that can actually do something.
Oh, you picked the guy, not the girl, not the love interest? Doug?
No, I think I messed up somehow, and that's another great thing about the game. You can mess up and
still keep going.
So, great game. I love that game. So, let's see. My number 6. Final Fantasy X.
Yeah. Well,
He hasn't even played it, so he can't say anything.
I've been watching her play Final Fantasy X too, and it's not that great.
10-2, well, there's a reason it's not on my list.
Yeah.
But 10.
Have we shared any of the same games so far? No, we haven't.
Not yet.
Yeah, probably towards the end.
10, I really, really liked, and there's a reason why it's popular among the masses.
Now remember, this is 1 game per franchise, so she's choosing out of all the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy X.
Yes, Final Fantasy X. It is really a story about growing up, and for both of these characters, I know it has its silly moments, and it's not the best voice acting cast, and it's not the deepest story, but you do feel for these characters. You feel the weight of their journey, and because you might be putting so much effort into fighting this one monster, you see your characters come out of that battle, and they feel that pain. I don't know, so there are points in the game, especially later on, I just absolutely loved. This game made me laugh, and it made me cry, and that's commendable. So this one is definitely my favorite Final Fantasy.
I never played it, so I don't really know. So is that it? Okay. Our number 5. My number 5 is going on to a game that's actually good. Number 5 is
wait until you play it, please.
Is Okami, which is It's the best Legend of Zelda game I've ever played. Whereas I think I played two Legend of Zeldas, one and a half, you can say, very fully. Um, Okami is that game, but better, less formulaic. It has some of the same tendencies. You go to a dungeon, you fight a boss, and stuff like that. But the way you do it isn't as linear, and it's so much more of its own world, based. None of which I think are on tropes. You have a female character, first of all. So Okami is about a wolf god who comes from the heavens to the polluted earth, essentially full of demons and unnatural things, and
Japanese lore.
goes to absolve that and make everything clean and beautiful again. And it's got this brushstroke, watercolor type of look to it. I'm not sure the proper term.
Game.
And I love wolves in general, just their concept, lone wolf type of character. But this is not that. It's a female wolf god who is essentially the embodiment of the sun, trying to bring back light into this world of darkness. By every metaphor and by every gameplay, you control a brush to create things in this world as a deity figure. You can do that. And it's a beautiful game. It's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. It's one of the most.
One of those games that I regret not.
Yeah, you should definitely play it. Plus it's the only game I've ever played where I didn't play it alone, and it's a single player game. It was me and a good friend of mine, Thomas. We played this game only together. Like if he was here every couple months, every other couple months or whatever, he would come and we would play it together. I never played it alone.
Really?
And it's the only single player game I played it with him. But even then, it's a great game and it should be played in whatever way possible.
My number 5, Last of Us.
Oh.
Yes, another Naughty Dog game.
I have that on my list too.
Yes, but Last of Us, I think a lot of us.
I didn't think you liked it that much.
Even though I am terrified of.
Oh yeah, she's afraid
zombified
of mushrooms. She has a phobia.
Mushrooms and all that molds and stuff.
She has a phobia of mushrooms.
What are you announcing? Phobia of that. I couldn't. It was hard. It was hard to play through a lot of those scenes, but this game is gripping.
I played some of it.
This game is gripping.
Yeah.
Even so, I think it grabs you from the very first sequence in the game.
That's good.
And it's hard to not go through the whole thing. I'd have to say, and it's just a gripping emotional tale of not just the apocalypse, but people trying to survive and have a connection with each other, still trying to keep some of their humanity, and you even though you're not the one making the choices as far as how things go, which is usually how I prefer it.
When you have choices?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
But even though that's the case in this game, Naughty Dog, seriously, the team told us a really great story.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of blew me away, and it was beautiful. At the same time, I felt that this apocalyptic atmosphere that they set up, I also felt was very well made up.
Yeah.
Especially in the school scenes, even the scenes where you were underground and it was infested by the infected.
Yeah, that's the only thing I didn't like though. I didn't like the level design that much, except for a few places. But I agree with, because I got her to play this game when we first started in a relationship together. That was one of our first joint. That was actually maybe our first joint experience. Was watching her play that, yeah, everything she said. I know I had something to say. It's the only game I've actually played twice fully through. That isn't my number 1, or number 3, or my number 7.
Yes, because you don't do that very often.
No,
only these.
Yeah, only very few. Yeah. So, but that one I kind of like. I showed it to another friend of mine, and I was like, "Wow, this game is good again." I forgot, and then I just played it, and then I was like, "Oh wow, there you go." I need to get a shirt for that game too.
Oh yeah.
What about you? Is that it too?
Yeah. That's the number 5.
My number 4 is Last of Us. So it's everything she said. It's a beautiful game. I prefer stories that are actually linear, because if that game does not give me the choice to move around and still be good, then it's a gorgeous game and it's never gonna be anything better than that. And at the same time, even linear games have the open to interpretation kind of thing, and this game does that at the very end.
Yeah.
And it does it beautifully and so sardonically too. And it's just a game that is, I guess the best word was gripping, but also in terms of like gameplay, like you're gripping the controller, being tense and physically anxious on this, like what you would call mushroom zombie, you can say fungus zombie coming up to you, and then trying to avoid it and stuff like that. Throw a brick at it. She liked to throw glass bottles. We make that
glass
little
bottles
brick.
Are so much more.
Anyway, and it was.
You can hold water in them. What can you do with the brick?
This apocalypse though. What are you talking about? I got a bottle right. Oh well, this ain't a glass bottle.
Exactly.
If I had a brick.
Need a glass bottle.
Anyway, we both enjoy that game heavily, and it was part of our general history too. So it's oh man, I can say I think maybe out of all the games, it had the best story. I can say that, like the simplest story, but beautifully told, most beautifully told story. Yeah, I would say that. That's my number 4. What about you?
Okay. Well, my number 4 is something you already had. Walking Dead.
Oh, you did?
1.
I thought you forgot about that.
Why would I?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That game.
You forgot about that.
You see, I like the Walking Dead game so much more than I like the show. I mean...
But the show got better.
The show got better. But these characters, I feel, they make so much more sense. And I don't know if it has to do with...
Games.
I'm not just talking about the main character, Lee, but, I'm talking about, like, even the side characters. You feel something for them. And, well, of course, most of us feel for Lee. He's a teacher, he's a father figure, and depending on your choices, he is a good guy. And, he kind of ushered all of us through this apocalyptic world. And he was a special character to me. And, I really, really enjoyed going through this game, playing this character. And there's very, very few games that I actually really, really like a lead character that much. So...
That's true.
And
he's not any like crazy character design. He's just a normal dude in a plaid thing, and then he's like really, him and Joel, I think, kind of like are some of the
kind of.
Yeah, they're normal guys put into an extraordinary situation. They're not extraordinary guys put into an extraordinary situation.
Exactly.
I like he is don't look. Oh. My number 3 is Batman Arkham City. That one's my favorite of all the famous Batman games, because it's been said to death. You feel like Batman, but more so than that, you feel good playing on the screen. It's just so. There are games I play, like I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 5 right now, and there are times when I kind of get the trigger finger for Batman because I'm like about to, I can glide in that game, and it's just so good. That's a case where you feel extraordinary, but the area is extraordinary and beautiful and great and gritty. Oh man,
it fits everything that Batman is. And people are gonna kill me because I have Batman on my shirt.
Yeah, you do have. She has Batman on her shirt with the sailor whatever. So the reason why I picked City though more than Night or Asylum was great. It just didn't have the same kind of gameplay that I enjoyed, the free roaming aspect, which I'm not the biggest fan of, honestly. I actually like my things very linear because that way that gives the creators, I think, the chance to really make the greatest story possible. If it's too big, sometimes it's also too scarce, and that's what I'm always afraid of. But this is a case where it's the exact opposite. it's a game that's not that big, but because of it's not that bigness, and the creators have said this plenty of times, that they can pack in so much more detail as a result.
Environment.
It's also one of the games that she dipped her paw into the water.
Oh,
That's so cute. Oh my god, that's not good. Anyway, the reason why I picked that one, other than the other ones, were it had the best gameplay, also had the best story, and I think Arkham Knight overcomplicated it. Arkham Asylum was too simple, and Arkham City had just that nice middle ground and stuff like that. And it had some of the best boss fights ever.
All right. Well, my number 3, Mass Effect 2.
Oh.
Yeah. You see, I was thinking about putting Batman on my list.
You were?
Yes.
Oh, well, next time. Like a top superhero game.
Yeah, but Batman isn't one of my first loves, I think. But yes, Mass Effect 2. I only picked this game up because of another game. BioWare was giving it out free.
Which game is that?
I'll mention it later.
Okay.
But,
then I already know.
But Mass Effect 2, I don't know why they were giving this game out free, honestly. It throws you right into this gritty mess, or at least...
Space opera.
It is a space opera, but, they just brought a character back to life, Shepard. Extremely iconic character throughout these series. Of course, that person can do it all. That is what they do.
He is you.
Yes,
or she.
As you. But also kind of as themselves too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Especially toward later in the game.
Okay.
Those choices, But as you go through not only is the gameplay fun, I personally hate shooters, but this is one of those that, yes, it's a shooter, kind of, not a lot, but depending on your role that you pick, it is a shooter. I personally played a sniper, so I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing this game, and I picked a lot of the different classes in there, and I have to say that overall the highest point is the characters. The characters, which you can see them everywhere, you can hear about them. It had such a great cast of characters. Oh, and the voice actors are too. It's just absolutely fantastic. I've never found myself caring for an alien of all things. Very diverse set. I love how they look, more so than Star Wars. People don't kill me, please. But these aliens, no matter if they're ugly or not, even the backstories and the side missions that you do, you feel like there is weight in what they're saying, and you can kind of understand where they're coming from. You travel around from planet to planet, and you really feel like you're in space. Like this isn't some kind of made up human fantasy.
You feel like you're in space? Like you go out in space and...
I mean, you don't, but I mean, you feel like you are a commander of a space fleet.
Oh.
Well, even though you're not in that one, but you really do feel like what you're doing is huge in this universe, or it can be something.
I thought it would make you feel like you're part more of a family.
Yes, well.
More than anything.
There were times I felt like my crew was my family. And I know definitely, especially toward the end in this game, like if somebody in your crew doesn't make it for whatever reason, whatever choice you had made, somebody, they don't make it. It hurts. It really hurts. Not only because you're losing an asset, but because you're losing a personality.
Yeah.
A great personality that you have on your ship.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones, but with choice and space
Yes.
and
Yes,
people.
Exactly.
Jon
That's
Snow!
my favorite.
Jon Snow
Not
with
surprising.
telekinetic powers. It's a Tekken game. Do you want to guess which one? You only get one guess.
5.
Close. Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection.
Oh, wow.
This one's my only PSP game. Most of my list is filled with Sony games, except for Super Mario, which I wanted to have there because it deserves that token of appreciation. But this is the only PSP game here. Woo! This thing got me through high school, man. My favorite genre of games is actually fighting games. Even though I love RPGs, there's a certain I will gravitate more towards fighting games. Even if I don't know how to play it or anything it's about, I just always gravitate towards them. You know this.
Yeah.
Ever since arcades were more of a thing, that was always what I geared more towards. But even now to this day, I'll even research a fighting game that I know I'll never touch. And it's a genre that's a little too unappreciated at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway,
don't really want to play fighting games anymore.
with the many variations of Tekken 5 on the PSP, which later transitioned to the PlayStation 3, Tekken 5 is a game that people tend to believe that is not welcoming of people who don't want to play it.
Or it's not really new user friendly.
It's hard for any fighting game to be like that, and it was like that for me with Smash Brothers and stuff. But it is a great game. It's an easier game than you would think. The combos are something you do have to remember, but if you remember one, you remember the rest, if that makes any sense. Every character essentially plays the same with variation, like a good fighter should. And it's just so aesthetically pleasing. The characters are so awesome and so... It's one of the lesser fantastical fighting games. Yes, there's like, a bear and a kangaroo, but it's an easy game
gimmicks, but it's fun.
It's an easy game with a great cast of characters. It's easily a game it's easily the best fighting game I know with the least cartoony fighting game characters, as if that makes any sense. I've fallen in love with some of the characters too, because as you play with them, you obviously like them and their aesthetics and stuff like that.
I think it's easier to actually fall in love with.
It probably is because they have their characters and they already have their definitions, and if you don't like it, you just move on and then you end up finding one that you really like. And even if you don't know their personality, there's always a look to them. Oh, I'll go for the blue guy because he looks cool, like from Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Oh, I'll go for the guy who's a bear because, whatever. And then you end up liking that character for whatever reason. Story was always great. We talked about this earlier, actually. With Tekken, you play through arcade and you get an ending. You get a reward, a prize, and not just some
Oh, you beat the main
crappy
boss.
Screen that tells you this is what he did. You get a full motion video, and I don't mean literally that. You get a CG video. Sometimes they experiment with it, but it's always this beautiful, gorgeous reward prize for your hard work, and it's great.
Giving you just a little bit more about that character.
Exactly.
That's also adds.
Its story has grown so much more than you would think into movies and stuff like that. They're not always that great, but it's the fact that they even do it and they care about their community. And it's also a throwback to old school game mechanics too at the same time. It's just a beautiful game series, and it's something I wish more people were into. Out of all the fighting games, Tekken is always the one. And I've had friendships grown through them as well, and new relationships and stuff like that. One of my closer friends, I met not through it, but I met him with a different game. We grew closer from Tekken. And then I met another friend from him. Then I met another friend, and then it's just like it's beautiful.
Even I grew up playing that game with my brother and cousin. We spent too many hours, going.
Which Tekken? Tekken 3?
Tekken 3 and Tekken 5. Those were our two go-tos.
Yeah. Also, I'm a Brazilian player. I play the Brazilians, so
oh my
spam.
Gosh.
I'm really good though. Don't try and.
Do you play Brazilians because you're Brazilian?
No, I play them because I like their fighting style. They're very tricky.
Yeah.
Most people think they're cheap, but you guys don't know. Anyway, that's my number 2. Sorry for taking so much time.
All right, my number 2.
Should I guess?
Do you want to guess?
Can I get a hint?
Why?
I just wanted to try.
Go ahead, guess.
Is it Kingdom Hearts?
Bitch. Kingdom Hearts 2.
I did not know that. I just took a guess. Oh wow.
My
you better
two
pick
is
Kingdom
Hearts 2. Now,
A lot of people's favorites, yeah.
I love this game. Yes, I love number 1 too, but number 2, even though the story got bigger, and I was okay with that. I was okay with that growing up because that's kind of what I wanted from 1. I was coming in as somebody that had played Final Fantasies before, so I knew the whole story progress that Square Enix usually has. But seeing them then expand on this world and all of these worlds, not only that, but including my favorite Disney characters, the ones that I grew up with and asked, Mommy, play it again. Those movies.
She says that to me too.
Shut up.
You weirdo.
Well, only on Tuesdays. But yeah, those games. I mean, that smashing it all together. It is just beautiful. Not to mention, you have a fantastic main character.
Oh, so good.
And again, I don't like many main characters, and he's in one of those like, oh, happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, he's Naruto or Goku or whatever.
He's lovable. I feel he's lovable because he cares, even though that these areas he goes to are so different. I mean, at least that's how I felt.
There's so many reasons. I could talk.
And the game is just fun. So much fun. I felt, we had these choices. You have your, oh my gosh, you're going to kill me. Drive forms.
Oh, so much.
You have your drive forms, your different abilities. There's just so much to choose from.
So, I just replayed it recently with a collection pack that came out, and it's so good. I didn't recognize how good it was, and I usually have lists, but then I had to reconsider. I had my own list within a list of Kingdom Hearts, and I had to reconsider that one because it was just I forgot how good it was. I could talk lifetimes about Kingdom Hearts. We'll talk about that
later.
Hours,
days, years.
No, I can talk like people's lives out with Kingdom Hearts. Like you could die listening to me talking about it, and I'll still keep going. Is that it though, or I cut you off? I'm sorry.
Yes. But Kingdom Hearts, not to mention it has these amazing Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah.
Great game. If you have not played it,
what's wrong with you?
You're crazy. I mean, you.
I question you as a person.
I question. I mean, you probably either didn't grow up with some Disney stuff in your life, or you didn't have the ability. I'm sorry. No offense. No offense. I can see why we're together.
I'm offended if you didn't play Kingdom Hearts.
He's offended.
Get away.
I can try to understand at least, but Kingdom Hearts 2 is my number 2.
My heart is full of pettiness. That's what it is. Kingdom Hearts reference. My number 1 is very obvious. That's why I brought this out here with this. Yeah, just so good.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to guess which Kingdom Hearts is my favorite?
Oh, I think I know.
Okay, I'm gonna say my favorite Kingdom Hearts is 1.
Kingdom Hearts.
It's the very first one. It was the one that made me a real person, honestly. It's what it... I didn't have...
He was Pinocchio in that game.
Oh, you're stupid. I did not have much of a foothold in my young life at that point. I was happy and stuff like that, but I didn't have my, thing. I didn't have my drawing or my sport or, anything like that. When Kingdom Hearts came in, it blew. It's just gorgeous, man. There's no point in kind of me talking about it anymore. You kind of have to experience it from that age onwards. Yes, the nostalgia is such a big part of it, but as I've grown older and as I've studied some game design and some film and other stuff, And as I started to branch out just from Kingdom Hearts, it's influenced a big part of not only my life, my tastes, my storytelling abilities, how I talk, how I see myself, where I'm influenced. It's yeah. The gameplay. Let me just go back into the gameplay for just speaking pragmatically here. The game is an action adventure RPG. It's one of the first popular real-time RPGs, and I'm speaking strictly in Kingdom Hearts 1. It didn't follow the same formula as JRPGs. See, she knows. That's why she came. But it kind of became its own thing, in some ways surpassing both its predecessors in some ways. Some people cannot see the Disney movies without the characters from Kingdom Hearts 1. Some people don't like Final Fantasy as much now because Kingdom Hearts has taken that throne. It is the child of an interspecies, interracial, intercompany parents, and it's just so much better to me than either of them now. It's taken a whole life on its own for me. If anybody knows, I'm sorry, if anybody knows my name, generally, even at the workplace, I have an office customer service type job at home, at where I work, and I'm wearing a Kingdom Hearts shirt. My wallet has a Kingdom Hearts thing on it. My anything. It's just so good. Alright, just to end it here. Kingdom Hearts tells the beautiful story of a kid trying to save his friends growing up and learning who he is through that. And you learn who you are, not because of the choices you make, because it's not choice-based. It's learning who you could be, a hero. And that ties into a lot of my fascinations and fascinations we have today about being the man, the woman, the ideal version of you, the best version of you. The woman. That's what I said. The woman, the man, the best version of you, the Sora version of you. Praise to Sora. This is a beautiful character.
You're gonna start his worship now.
I am. I worship this man. This boy. That didn't sound right.
Before you
this little boy.
Oh my god.
This is.
He would rather Sora be sitting here than me.
Yeah, I would.
But
he is such an easy character to fall for. I'm sorry. He's just beautiful.
Before you goes on.
Probably this whole video is a reference to Kingdom Hearts too. I'll probably just call it.
Anyway, my number one.
Dragon Age Origins.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you didn't need to say it, but Dragon Age Origins.
Go ahead, say it.
I gave this guy. This is.
Yes.
This game. I was very apprehensive first going into it.
Can I say one thing before you say? I had a Dragon Age on my list, top 20 list too. Dragon Age 3 was number 16 on my list, but it's good. It's good. All right, I just want to give Dragon Age my props.
It's due.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, but it looks so ugly," and the story.
The first one for PS3, yeah.
I don't think that matters, and I think this game. I think it's so good that it surpasses what this whole graphics race that we have kind of going on today with a lot of our games.
Yeah, it's sad.
And it brings to us, it goes back to the basics, not basics as far as the gameplay. But I'm a very, very story driven person. So, the characters in this game, I mean, I've laughed, I've cried, I've played this game so many different times just to see if this could happen, what would happen if I did that. I had so much fun each and every time, and I can't really say that about any other game I've ever played. So, this game is my top. I mean, I got this game as one of my friends referred it to me. I was playing.
Hamadi?
No, not a friend that you know. A friend way back in the day, high school. And when I used to play World of Warcraft, I didn't really have like.
Nerd.
I was such a nerd. I was like, what else is there? World of Warcraft is so boring. I'm looking for something or RPG, role playing maybe. Looking for something that's I can explore. He's like, why don't you try Dragon Age? I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah. Flies under the radar. It's the ugly little cousin to Mass Effect.
Yeah, it is. But it's exploded now thanks to Dragon Age Inquisition. But Origins is really where it all has come from.
Origins?
Yeah, it's the Origins. And in this game, you can choose a whole bunch of, a couple of different races, 3. But you can also choose your class. You can choose your
human,
tree,
dwarf, and elf. Yeah.
Yes, okay, you get that in other games.
That's true.
But the thing is, this one has more depth.
Depth. Johnny Depth. That's bad.
And I've never, fallen in love with a world and its lore as much as I have Dragon Age. And, going in there, making my own character and seeing, even making up my own stories, it's actually inspired a lot of creativity for me. A lot of this creativity, unfortunately, has died again, but it inspired a lot of creativity for me. And I always recommend it to my friends because even though it's not the most flashiest of games, it's definitely worth playing.
I think Dragon Age Origins is...
Oh, especially if you have it on PC, by the way. There's the mod community for that is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I think Dragon Age Origins is the quintessential indie movie that was not seen until it boomed on its fan base. Think of it like that almost. I think it's through the strength of its fans really. It got really it grew out of that.
Oh, thank goodness.
I was just looking at your list, and 3 of your games are from BioWare.
3 of my games are from BioWare.
And they're always known for story. And Dragon Age
is that, I think that was their love letter. They're trying to.
Yeah.
They took a lot of those ideas from Baldur's Gate. But I think they expanded on it.
Yeah.
And it would be Inquisition. However, I haven't played Inquisition the same amount. I haven't fallen in love with those characters.
Yeah, those characters, man. Those characters make you fall in love with them so easy, so fast. Not as fast for me with Kingdom Hearts.
Even if you want to kill some of them.
It's
it's
you.
I love it.
It's you in a game with a medieval setting, whatever. It's you in that world, and you can almost do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
It's so much fun.
You can go up to the point where you can, if you really don't like anybody, it could just be you and your dog, or just you and yourself.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's just great.
Yeah. It's a beautiful game. So Dragon Age Origins, Kingdom Hearts 1, the origins of our favorite franchises, you could say, are our number ones.
Yes, number ones.
So this has been our first episode of NerdLove. We just did this for fun. But if anybody watches it, give us some feedback. Would be fun. Tell us how stupid we look, whatever.
Yeah. Why didn't you put Batman out there?
Whatever you want to say. Let us know if you actually want any other lists. I'm probably just going to be sharing this with my friends and stuff like that. But, this is Nerd Love. We, love nerdy things. So board games, animes, other types of video games like
movies,
top 10 RPGs or top 10 movies. If you like our discussions, or if you even want to come on the show and talk, and whatever, voice your opinion, I would love to get you on.
Yes, doing these lists is probably going to give me a huge headache, but please give us your feedback.
Yeah. So this has been Nerd Love, And what's a good goodbye? A good goodbye.
So hard finding
we-
what you love.
It's so hard to find what you love. There you go. All right, love you guys. Love, learn, love. No, bye. There you go.